The birthplace of the Bohemian Revolution from Cowork 591 Studios. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. I'm Jim Gillespie with co-host Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. And this is the Jesup News for May 27th, 2024. Click follow and rate, as well as tell a friend and get us out there, please. Tonight, we will give you advice on how to make the best of your summer life.
All right.
Jay Billis eulogizes Bill Walton. We talk about the benefits of old friends. We talk about the power of live music. We talk about the Carter Route concert.
Okay.
We have Jesup news and some of the smelly content around it. We have Farmers Day and Littleton Free Watermelon Day news.
Those are coming up, aren't they?
They are.
Not very far away.
We'll be into June when this comes out.
Yeah.
And we have a weekly update, and we look at the Steve Brown Arts Center. The Steve Brown Arts Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has a vision for artists, young and old alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves while helping to build the skills of those around them. The long-range vision, and the vision is to house a rural artist residency program for professional and emerging artists in all areas of the arts and the humanities. Artists will be offered accommodations and studio space in exchange for a contribution of labor and maintenance of the buildings and the ground. Dale, how many years did you teach?
33.
33. I taught 35.
Overachiever.
One year was spent at a Catholic school, so I didn't get the IPRS, so I stayed around for that extra year.
Yeah.
The summer break has always been incredibly important to me, not only as a teacher but as a student. I can remember as a youth how excited I was for summer break.
Yeah. Well, you traveled a lot though in your summers. You did a lot of that. So
I did as a coach. And even growing up as a child, my mom and dad were terrific about taking me on vacation.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's why you're so well-rounded.
Well, that plus I eat a lot.
Yeah, well, round is the shape, So if the doctor says, get into shape, Jim, you say, well, round is the shape. So,
but it is, the summer break is a big deal. And so tonight, Dale, I've got advice for people young and old alike.
Okay, well, I sure need some.
On how to deal with their summer break. You may want to write a few of these down.
I got a pen right here.
All right. Blake, get ready. This is big. This is big for you. This is your first year out of college, your first summer out of college. You may want to do some of these. All right? Here we go. This is how to handle and utilize your summer break.
Okay.
And there's a lot.
Oh, okay.
So,
a lot of them. All right.
Yeah. Let me go through them, and then you can ridicule or add to them when I'm done, Dale.
I think you'll find that I hardly ever ridicule anything you say. I'm always very impressed.
Really?
Yes.
You're a terrible liar, but you're kind. They were talking today on the Levitard podcast that guys making fun of each other is a sign of friendship. So, Dale, I think
so, yeah. Every now and then you can get into trouble.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think I've always grown up that way. And the best friends I had were the ones that we went back and forth the most.
Yeah.
And it was fun. So it's a fun way to live.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So, anyhow, for you graduates, this is a big deal. For you young people, this is how you should live your summer life. And for you older people, and I've seen our demographics, our number one listeners are from 24 to 36.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
So if you're 24 to 36, I advise that you do this. Okay, here we go. First, be an instigator. When you want to do something, start it. If you want to do something this summer, go out and start it yourself. Don't wait for someone else to start it. Put the fish back that you catch so others can catch. Sing when you're sad. It will change your day. Associate with bohemians like Dale and I when you can. Don't fear the alien reptiles. They didn't come to hurt you. Tip the band. The split for the gig isn't enough. Buy Black Label. The taste is better and you feel better the next day. Be curious, not judgmental. You boys, stay away from the snake farm, and you girls, stay away from the boys that go to the snake. Have a lively time. Feed the pigeons some clay, and at least once this summer, turn the night into day. That means stay up late and enjoy it. Plant a little garden and eat a lot of peaches.
Peaches?
Peaches.
Okay.
Okay. Kayak with your girlfriend or your boyfriend. You'll remember that day forever. Eat soft serve ice cream and don't feel guilty.
Yeah.
Oh. Mow the yard if for no other reason the smell.
Yeah.
That smell is wonderful. Leave your phone at home one day out of the month just to live your own life. If you can just leave it at home and go do other things. We have become a society bound by our telephone.
Yep.
Spend a day just with your family. Write a thank you note to someone who's been kind to you. You know, we've become a society that doesn't write. It's all emails and text messages. Go swimming or learn to swim if you can't. Drive to Gunder and have a burger. Ride your bike 50 miles one day and stop multiple times along the way. That'd be the perfect time to have soft serve ice cream.
Yeah, or a Gunderburger.
Or a Gunderburger. Catch a fish that measures as many inches as you are years old. Now, for you and I, Dale, that will be a great challenge.
That would be a big fish, yes.
Yes, it would. Hang out with a redhead.
Ah, okay.
Gingers are the coming thing.
Yeah, no, I know just the redhead, too. So
Read Still Life with Woodpecker, Tom Robbins.
okay.
Those are the advice. That's the advice for you to do this summer. If you do at least 5 of those, you're going to have a great summer.
Okay. Well, if I do that fish one, I would have a real wonderful summer, yeah. That would be a big fish, so.
Dale, I want to get you in a kayak and put a little corn on your line and let you catch a carp and let a carp drag you around in the wild.
Yeah. They are tough to get in.
Oh, they are.
They are. I love catching them.
Oh, they're fun.
Yep.
They're fun. So that is the advice on how to deal with your summer.
Okay.
The
book you mentioned. Have you read that?
I've read it multiple times years ago.
And what do you think is the why was it important?
It's a book about 2 redheads.
Ah, okay.
So still life with Woodpecker.
Yeah.
And I will talk about that book later on in the show here.
Okay.
So
No, there's a redheaded girl sat right in front of me in, I think it was English literature in high school, Barbara Burke, and I just thought she was the most beautiful girl. And I never would talk to her because I was too shy.
Too shy.
Yeah, and you think, oh, how many opportunities have been lost because you didn't make a move of some kind or didn't speak or whatever. So, but
well,
she became a doctor. I'd be rich now if I'd hooked up with her, you know. But anyway, very nice girl. There's a redheaded family in Hudson. I go to Hudson a lot because my son's family lives there. And the Olsen family, and Lyle just graduated this year, a good friend of my son. But they have a daughter who's playing, was a freshman this year playing basketball and soccer and probably something else. And then they have a little boy, and I think another little girl. But I think they're the only redheads in the Hudson school. You can pick them out just easy, but they're the nicest family. And Heather Olsen has kind of adopted me. She takes care of me if my kids aren't there to help me out, to find a parking spot or make sure I get a seat somewhere. She is very caring, and so.
Here are 13 of the most famous redheads of all time.
Okay, can we guess a few? Or?
Sure.
Okay, Red Skelton on the list?
He didn't make the list, but that's a good guess.
Lucille Ball.
That is the number 1.
Ah, okay. Red Chaindings, the baseball player?
No, didn't make the list.
Red Auerbach, the basketball
Didn't
coach.
make the list.
Okay, then I'm gone. I'm
All
done.
right, well done, well done. So, all right, number 1. And I was going to go backwards, but number 13, and I will talk later about him, is Bill Walton, the big redhead that just died recently.
Yeah.
arguably the greatest college basketball player of all time. Number 12, Bernard Mickey Rambler, the hero in the book Still Life with a Woodpecker.
Okay.
He's a bomber.
A bomber?
Revolutionary.
Okay.
Number 11, Edna St. Vincent Millay,
Okay.
the libertarian poet.
I probably only saw black and white pictures of her, so that's not my fault.
Margaret Sanger, the
Okay.
feminist, is number 10.
Okay.
Number 9, the humorist, Woody Allen.
Oh, sure.
Number 8, the humorist and great writer, Mark Twain.
Okay. I didn't realize he had red hair.
No,
So, okay.
no. Well, it's because most pictures
No color film
Yep.
in those days. Okay. Again, not my fault.
Number 7, the informer, Judas Iscariot. Number 6, the playwright, George Bernard Shaw. Number 5, oh my gosh, Dale, you were right. Number 5 was Red Skeleton, the comic.
Okay.
Forgive me. Number 4, the revolutionary, Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, I should have known that. Yeah.
Number 3, the hatchet woman, Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her father 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her mother 41. That was
That was a scandal.
yeah.
Number 2, General George Armstrong Custer.
Yeah.
And number 1, as you said earlier, the comedian Lucille Ball.
Do you think, like, redheads had quite a problem, say, in medieval times? They think the Judas red hair thing was part of that? Or
Well,
because they used to, not think much of redheads, or they were a little wary of redheads back in the, when people were really stupid.
it is believed that redheads are dangerous and funny. So
Okay.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right, Dale. Judas Iscariot, obviously very dangerous.
Yeah. There was a Sherlock Holmes novel, and it was about, and the bad guys in it were like the redhead club or
Yeah.
something. All the bad guys had red hair, which you would think that'd be pretty easy to spot you, but and I don't remember most of the story, but it was called the Redhead Club or something, and they were the bad guys.
Now most redheads are actually orange.
Yeah.
I'm sure that young lady that sat in front of you in class had orange hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, I know I had some black friends in the Marine Corps, and they'd say, "You think you're white?" He said, "This is white. You're not white." Well, it's not my fault, but
So anyhow, that is the about the book. Still Life with a Woodpecker by Tom
write
Robbins.
that
I contacted the library to loan it for me, and if they can't, they're going to buy it for me.
okay. So is it right? It's new.
No, it came out in 1980, but it is wonderful. I don't know if you're familiar with Tom Robbins. He's written a lot of stuff, Dale.
I may have and don't remember.
If you great humor that you would love.
Okay.
Please, if nothing else, if you go over to the bookstore in Waterloo, the
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble. Thank you. Not the other bookstore that you're thinking about there. Come on, the Barnes and Noble. They have Tom Robbins in there.
Okay. Now, is he still active, or?
I don't know if Tom Robbins is still alive or not. I'm not going to kill him yet.
Okay.
Dale.
All right.
So I don't want to kill him yet.
Yeah.
This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network.
You talked about young people just graduating, and the best card I saw this year was says about young people going out into the world. Then you'll notice it says, I've been out in the world. Don't go there. It's a mess. Stay home with your mom and dad. So.
There's been an outpouring of love for Bill Walton as he died this week, and it's because he was such a good friend to people. Imagine arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, and the last 3 days that he's been eulogized, rarely do they talk about how he was the greatest basketball player of all time. They talk about his friendship.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about friendship. There's an article here by a man named Samia Kalia, and how friendship is a big deal. We went through a little bit of a struggle with friendship during the COVID time, Dale.
Yeah.
People became less because of it.
People had psychological problems and actually ended up needing treatment.
Yeah. But this is by Samia.
I'm sorry to interrupt again, but I remember during those times, if somebody walked by the house, you would go to the door and go outside and stay in the driveway and talk because you were so hungry for human interaction. Yeah. It was a very strange, feeling.
Strange.
Yeah.
It was terribly strange. There's a sentiment that has become popular by a way of tweet over the years. Adult friendships be like, I miss you, bro. Let's link in November. The brevity sparks amusement. We share and reshare this nifty one-liner with friends lost to time and place. Said friends double tap or react with an emotion, indulging nostalgia for a hot minute before proceeding to carry on with their day. Some may even respond with a proposal for tentative plans that generally don't tend to ever materialize. But within this exchange is a sweeter and gentler truth that becomes evident only in passing. The humor of adult friends missing each other, casually articulating the desire to reconnect. Catching up with friends from lives past requires an act of initiation, then it's smooth sailing usually, where people glide over metaphorical tides and delve into adventures left behind. Anything and everything that exists is a reminder of themselves and their friendship. Dale, I know you get together friends from your youth, at least once a month over in Allwine, don't you?
Well, there's 5 guys there's 6 of us. We graduated together, and Jeff Gerhardt is one of them.
Yeah.
And I played baseball with him, and then another guy's on the baseball team. And one is a kid I went to elementary school with, and one is a kid that's just one of those guys, everybody knows him,
right.
Just a fun guy. And he was telling me he was having problems in college, so he went to the counselor, and she said, well, where were you in your high school class? He said, 6th. She said, well, you should be doing much better. He says, I was 6th from the bottom. These weren't the closest people I grew up with, but it's become important to me. It bothers me when I have to miss that Tuesday breakfast, because I enjoy just reminiscing with them and talking about things. And it's friendship is important.
People take it as an undertaking of typing an uncomplicated, hey, how's it going, that remains belabored in our minds. Reconnecting is easy in theory, but it's the enterprise of reaching out that it's hard to execute. Mm-hmm. What if the person finds it intrusive? Worse, what if they don't respond? The desire to reconnect is also fraught with anxiety about making ourselves vulnerable. As it turns out, the hesitation is overstated. There is wisdom in catching up with old friends, and even sending that text we've been sitting on for a while. This is precisely what new research showed recently. Hey matters more than we think it does. Researchers at the University of Pittsburgh recently conducted 13 real and fictional experiments with more than 5,900 participants to gauge the impact of social interaction. They asked college students to write a note to someone they had lost touch with, and then mailed this note to the recipient. Both the writer and the recipient were asked to rate on a 7-point scale the level of appreciation they felt on sending and receiving the note. Write that thank you note.
Yeah.
While the sender's average rating bordered on 5.57, the receiver went as high as 6.17. It's a big deal to receive a written note.
Yeah, and very rare anymore.
It is.
I mean, really. Yeah.
Indicating that people receive those out-of-the-blue messages with more love and kindness than we expect them to. What's more is the higher the degree of surprise in the correspondence, the higher the appreciation. Irrespective, the pattern was that those who reached out by way of mails, messages, or gifts underestimated the impact of their casual check-in, while the receiver was significantly ecstatic about the gesture. The study published by the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology thus unearthed a mismatch that lives in our mind. People's hesitation may be misplaced, as others are likely to appreciate being reached out to more than people think, according to Peggy Lou, the lead author of the research. In other words, chances are the other person doesn't find the good old catch-up weird and may actually be pleasantly surprised. Aoife Hannah, I love that name, Aoife.
Yeah.
That's
not heard it.
It is an Irish goddess's name.
EPHA or
AOIFE.
Oh, okay.
Aoife.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never would have got that. Yeah.
It's
a lot of vowels in there for
it's a way to say Eve in Celtic language.
Okay.
Eva Hannah writes in Bustle how they reached out to a friend from another lifetime. I reached out and it felt weirdly scary. There was vulnerability about it, like asking someone on a date or sending an ex a song that made you think of them. Luckily, despite us both being busy gals in our 30s with deadlines in washing that needed doing, she was up. Eva and their friend Phoebe were both exalted by the end. Chat that had taken me back to being 22, insecure, chubby and weird, but that canceled out all those thoughts. Although it's easy to hate on your past struggles and your crappy times, they make you solid, like going over a line in pencil multiple times. It gets thicker, stronger, and more permanent. The desire to reconnect was more evident during the early days of the lockdown in 2020. As it happens with moments of crisis and tragedies, the instinct is to look backwards and embrace nostalgia, and with it also think fondly of short bursts of friendships that withered over time. Arguably, memory in its imperfect glory is a slippery slope. It is neither healthy nor prudent to revisit every relationship of the past, yet idea remains a spontaneous message from people who were important in some other era that makes us and then feel good. The premise is that we are all social creatures by nature. We need emotional connection, especially authentic connection, feel a sense of belongingness, and find an anchor to place our lives in contact. It thus acts as a counter to loneliness. It is important, Dale, in our lives to make contact with old friends. I really believe it.
I have a friend from Hazleton, Tony Wingert, and he joined the Air Force. He was a year older than me, probably in 65, 66, and has lived in Florida ever since. But he's the kind of guy, all his life, like girls liked him, boys liked him, teachers liked him, your parents liked him. I mean, he's just a wonderful kid. And we had like between 17 and 20 kids in our class at Hazleton. So he went to, we organized an old wine where we had like 200 maybe in the class. And so he went there as a junior. He was a junior when they reorganized. And by the end of that year, he was elected president of the class for the senior year.
Wow.
And I think he's the only Hazleton kid who got any kind of office in any of the class. But it was unbelievable. But in that year, people just realized what a great guy he was. Add on to that, I see him every 5 years. Every 5 years, he plans their class reunion. And so he comes back. And so he gives me a call, and we get together and talk. So 5 years ago, because he's coming in July, I talked to him on the phone. But 5 years ago, his nephew came back with him. And we met, I think, at the Dairy Queen in Independence. We sat there and talked. And finally, the young man, the nephew, he said, "How long has it been since you guys saw each other?" And I said, "Well, it's been 5 years." He said, "I can't." He said, "You talk just like you see each other every day." And I said, "Yeah, that's just, we know each other so well, and you just pick right up where we left off." Mm-hmm. And I just thought that's, I think, a true, it's a value of friendship, but a true sign of friendship, too, that it's just, you don't have to apologize. I haven't seen you for a while. You just pick right up where you left off and away you go. And so I think those kind of friendships are very strong. And I have friends that I don't see very often, but when I do see them, we just pick right up, and it's a wonderful feeling. So.
Your class reunion is this summer?
No, he's a class ahead of me, a year older. So mine is next year. See, so,
okay.
So he was graduated 64, and I was 65. But so he, great kid.
Yeah. It is. My 45th reunion is this summer.
Okay.
Geez, those people are old.
My 60th is next year. Yeah, 60 years, that sounds horrible, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just to be that old, let alone to be graduating that many years ago. But yeah, these friends, one of the six guys, Mark Levine, he's gotten the job of organizing the reunion for next year. And so we're having breakfast, and he's talking about, he rented this, or how about renting this venue in Old Wine? Would that be okay? And somebody said, well, don't you have a committee or something? Hey, he says, you guys ready? I said, oh, we didn't know that. So we need to get some girls on this committee to do the work. So, so anyway, I will probably be involved with that a little bit. But the main thing with these reunions, as you get older, is people say, okay, we don't want a loud band. I mean, we want to be able to talk to people. Yeah. And those bands we can't hear. We don't want, a lot of music and this sort of thing. We just want to be able to visit and catch up with people. And I think that's very important because I've been to some of those places, and when I get done, I'm hoarse because I'm yelling over a band, and I don't like that. And so we could, on the cheap now, we can meet, see?
Yep. Dale, I see, talk about old friends meeting. Farmers Day is coming up here in about 20 days.
Yeah.
I see you got the list of Farmers Day there.
Yeah, I got the whole schedule here, and I thought I just mentioned a couple things. This Hole in the Sock gang, those are the gunfighters from Marquette or somewhere along the river there, and they're on 5 or 6 times over the 3 days.
Okay.
And
where will they be?
They'll be on Young Street, down there probably on Young Street between the post office and City Hall. I would imagine that block there.
Yep.
They need a lot of space, because they're shooting. So,
right.
Okay. Running around. And then I also plug this. We're doing a thing this year. We're putting up some of the sets from the pageant that we did, and one of those sets is a barber shop and with a actual authentic antique barber chair that Alan Wright owns for some reason. And so, but anyway, I played the barber in the pageant, and so if you want to know anything about Jesup history that you think I might be able to help you with, or if you just want to come in and listen to me talk about the history of Jesup, there'll be 2 or 3 times during the 3 days where I'll be available.
Where will that be at?
On Young Street, somewhere down there. I'm not sure yet, and I won't know until put it up. And so then that Prince and Princess contest again will be on Thursday night. Friday afternoon is always kind of a slow time. We always try to find something to kick that up. Well, this year we're having wrestling. And again, we haven't talked about this for a long time. I was surprised. I'd forgotten about that. But I think it's a group from Old Wine. And it's more for fun than anything, but it's wrestling. And I don't know if you can get out of the crowd and wrestle one of these guys, or if they just wrestle each other or what. But it's more along the pro wrestling kind of thing rather than high school wrestling. So it's supposed to be a lot of fun. So I'd pay money to see you get your arm broken by some big brute. But,
I worry that insurance coverage may not cover wrestling someone out of the crowd, Dale.
Well, okay. But then we had the giant Jenga. You might look at your insurance coverage because those are with 2x4s, right?
Well, it's not quite as big.
Oh.
The highest it can get is 5 feet tall,
okay.
which is about up to my chin.
Okay, so you can still break your toe, though, right?
You can.
I mean, it's possible. So it's dangerous then. It's dangerous.
It is dangerous.
Yeah.
It's a violent game.
And Jenga at your own risk, okay?
Yeah. Please come down on Friday.
Yeah, so that'll be neat. And again, the Hole in the Sock gang and the Talk with the Barber is again going on Friday. I always plug the pancake breakfast at the Presbyterian Church Saturday morning. I always make that. I go down to the pancake breakfast, and then I walk up and help organize the parade. And so it's kind of a ritual for me. Mm-hmm. And that year, they didn't have it because of the pandemic or whatever. It broke my heart. But I love picking on the Presbyterian ladies. So, but they make good pancakes, though. And from the Steve Brown Art Center on Saturday the 22nd, David and Lisa Lang are playing the Alp horn.
Along with other things, I got
they're going to play other things?
I got a message from Dave this afternoon. Let me read that message to you. It will be a variety of piano solos. Lisa will be playing the euphonium solos.
Okay.
Is that how you say that?
Euphonium, yes, I believe so.
David and Lisa will play Alphorn duet. So there's also be some piano. That'll be about a 40-minute segment.
Okay, all right. Because I think 40 minutes of just the Alphorn might be a bit much. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. And then Greg Dietrich is also Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock, and he's the jazz trumpet player, professional musician. Been playing for years and years and years, and very good. And you got something from him, or
rather unique thing. The people out at Cedar Rock heard Dave on our podcast.
Oh, is that right?
and they want him. They want him to play out there, and they have a Strawberry Moon event out at Cedar Rock at the Frank Lloyd Wright House. And that is the 22nd of June. Well, the same day as Greg is here.
Oh, I see.
And Greg called me and said, you guys have been so kind to me. I really want to play your event, but I also want to play at Cedar Rock.
Sure.
And so after he plays our event, Dave is going to put on a suit and tie and go over and play at Cedar Rock.
We'll probably lose half our crowd at Farmers Day following him over there.
That is more of a social crowd than you and I are used to.
Okay. They have shirts that actually button and everything.
They do.
Yeah,
they do. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then Chet Reagan is at 4 o'clock, also in the gazebo, and he does rock, country, pop, bluegrass, and folk music. So he's very versatile. And the Richie Lee variety show is also Saturday.
Okay.
And he does a lot of 50s, Everly Brothers and little Merle Haggard, I think, and those late 50s. Buddy Holly, that's what Buddy Holly kinds of stuff, and early 60s things. That's what his show used to be.
Right.
I'm assuming it still is. Then Bill Crastle will be there Saturday night. And the Detour Band, Danny Roberts. I'm not familiar with them, but
I don't know them either.
Usually the Saturday night band is really a good band. And then there's the Ministerial Association is doing a community church service Sunday morning in the pavilion, and then we have a community gospel hour and ice cream social in the afternoon.
Oh, cool.
Down at the pavilion also with Bill Crastle. He sings some gospel songs and we eat ice cream and that sort of thing. So,
this heathen might have to go to church that Sunday.
You know, I was going to say it wouldn't hurt you, but I don't want to say that.
It might help me. A better way to say it is it might help.
Might help me, yeah. So anyway, those are just some of the highlights for Farmers Day.
Oh, thank you.
So,
thank you, Dale.
Hope everybody. It's weird being in June like this, and it's not having everything that we're used to. So we're just hoping that it turns out okay.
Dale, what I like about it, and I haven't talked to Alan about this, and I haven't talked to Vic Keller about this, but what I like about it is we're not going head-to-head with the Buchanan County Fair.
Yeah.
You know, it's our own event.
Yeah.
And we are, it's ours.
Yeah.
The time period is ours.
It's not our fault about the fair. I mean,
No.
moved to our date. We had the date, and and again, it wasn't their fault because the state fair had to move.
Yeah.
And so then everybody else had to move back to get their stuff done to send prize winners to the state fair.
Right.
So it's nobody's fault,
No.
but it just turned out that way. But we did not on purpose move to conflict with the county fair.
No.
And this year we're conflicting with Fairbank Days, and we've done that before. We don't like that either. But it's just you some things. Everybody knows this. Sometimes you have no choice. You have to do. This is how it's laid out, and you have to go that way. There's no other alternative, and so.
Dale, the wonderful thing about it is it's Jesup Farmers Day.
Yeah.
You know, it is our celebration.
Yeah, though we like other people to come.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Anything else?
Well, I don't know. I think it's the library's doing lunch in the park on Thursday.
Is it this coming Thursday?
I think it's this coming Thursday.
Okay.
And I didn't. Maybe you mentioned this last week, but I didn't. There's a farmers market on Saturdays now down at the pavilion.
Yeah,
from 8 to 12.
Yeah.
And a big June 15th from 9 to 11 during the farmers market. The Big Blast Brass Band will be on.
Say that 3 times.
No, I won't do that. Might get our license revoked. But they're going to be playing at the farmers market. They'll be on the stage in the pavilion. So June 15th is a Saturday from 9 to 11. So
it's a group of young people from UNI, and they're real excited to play.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's their first gig together, so
Okay.
they're real excited. I talked to Aiden Anderson. His mother is an art teacher in Independence, and we've had the Langs on our show, and Aiden was a student of the Langs.
Okay.
And the Langs talk about how successful Aiden is, and it will be a wonderful morning.
You know, Carter Rout's mom plays with a brass and it's a quintet professionally, and they have played in Jesup a few times, and they are very good. And so, but they're not kids; they're older. But one more thing I'll mention is I talked about Tony Wingert, and he's going to come in July, and we're going to get together at the Allerton in Independence. And I think his grandfather was the one who started the original Allerton Brewing Company in Independence.
Really?
And so he's very anxious to talk to the people that are running it now. And so he's real big into family history and this sort of thing. So I think it'll be very interesting to see how that works out.
When are you talking with him?
I think it's July 20th, but I'd have to look it up again.
Perhaps we can get him on our show.
Yeah, well, it's possible, because he's an interesting. He taught pilots. He was an enlisted man in the Air Force, and he taught pilots on simulators about flight. Ran a flight simulator, if I remember this right, and then he was big into palominos, and then every year he would go out west to work with the wild horse herds to try and save the wild horse.
Really?
Yeah, and so he's got a very interesting, a lot of different things. I don't think he's an artist of any kind, but he's a very nice man. And so I could ask him.
Yeah, please. Where does he live?
In Panama City, Florida.
Okay.
And he comes up every 5 years to do the reunion.
All right.
And he I'm sure he has helpers, but he plans the reunion and gets everything set up for his class every 5 years. And so he took that responsibility very seriously as class president. Works. Okay. Right. Anything else going on in the city?
Well,
any controversy or anything?
There is, Dale, and let's talk about that. There is a discussion going on about the recycling center in our town. Yeah. Those of you that go to the recycling center know that the bins are full a lot. Yeah. That some people just throw stuff on the ground when they're full. Some people dump garbage in them. Yeah. It is a tough place. There's a statistic out there I heard, not just in Jesup, but all over the world, Dale. When people recycle, 80 to 85% of it is not recyclable. Yeah, it's garbage.
Yeah, especially the plastic. Yeah, the plastic they don't recycle.
And so it is. It is a mess down there. But there's been some discussion on social media, and unfortunately, social media you don't get all of the facts. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so here is as good of facts as I can give you, Dale. Okay. And if you have any questions, please ask me, because I'm sure I'll leave out something. Okay. It started by 3 CAP students, would have been in, I believe, this second semester that just ended, wanted to do a questionnaire about how to clean up that area, that recycling area, and how to recycle better. And so they set out to do a questionnaire, and 300 of the 1,200 people that receive water bills in our town filled out the questionnaire, which is a lot.
Yeah, that's a big return, I would say.
Not that many people vote in every election, Dale. Yeah. So there was a huge return, but like all questionnaires, eventually they have to come in and they have to be tabulated. And so some people found out late that the questionnaires had been done, and they became angry. And they voiced that anger on the social media. And I've been that way. I've been, I miss things. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, they missed things. But these young people then tabulated, and to their credit, they went in front of the city council and presented their findings and talked about how they could do a better job of recycling in our community. One of the great providers in our community, my provider out in the country, I don't live in town, so I don't have a say in this matter. My provider is Thomas James, the Dunkerton garbage hauler. Right. There's a better name for it.
Refuge. Garbage hauler, we all understand.
Yeah, garbage hauler. And they haul in the country, or they pick up one time a week. Well, in town, to Thomas James' credit, they pick up twice a week.
Yeah.
And people really like that service. That's incredible service to Thomas James credit. But Thomas James does not do recycling. And because of that, those young people that went to the city council meeting told the city council Thomas James doesn't recycle. No attack on Thomas James.
Yeah, just the facts.
Just the facts. They didn't say we got to get rid of Thomas James. They didn't say anything like that. The young people were very professional. That's what I love about CAPS. CAPS does a nice job of educating our young people on how to become civic-minded adults.
Yeah. Because I can't see myself in high school going to talk to the school board or the city council, anybody like that. I would not have done it.
No. Well, but they also, to their credit, contacted other garbage haulers that do pick or do recycle. And unfortunately, or fortunately, some of them would pick up once a week and then pick up the recycle once every 2 weeks. So now, instead of having the garbage truck running 4 times a week, you're only having the garbage truck run 3 times a week. It's not really garbage. One time a week is the recycle.
Every other week.
Every other week.
Yeah. See, that's where they do it in Johnston, where my kids live, is garbage every Tuesday, and you put the recycling out every other Tuesday. And then one truck comes along, gets the garbage bin. They dump it on, with the arms, and they just shake it out. The guy never gets out of the truck.
Now, see, and that's a wonderful thing, Dale, but a lot of people, for myself, all I got to do, with Thomas James is carry my garbage to the curb.
That's the way I have used them for 50 years, so I know what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people, there's a number of people, I won't say a lot of people, there's a number of people in Jesup that don't want to wheel their garbage to the curb or their recycle to the curb and then have to go out and move that recycle back.
Yeah.
And and I'm not calling people lazy. It is like the remote. Gosh, I love the remote on the television. Where was the remote when I was 9 years old and Dad was telling me to get up and turn the television to CBS instead of ABC?
Yeah.
But we have to take those extra steps if we want to recycle and alleviate that mess down at the recycle center. Our city council doesn't want to charge you more. The recycling has went up, but they haven't charged us. Our city hasn't charged us for that. It went up something like $1,000 a year.
Well, didn't it say in that form that they pay $25,000 a year for recycling?
It's something like that.
Yeah. And so, you're paying for it one way or the other.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. It's like $2.50 a month is what people are paying right now in Jesup.
Oh, it's in your bill.
Yeah, it's in your bill.
Okay.
It's in your water bill.
Okay.
And people that don't know the facts are up in arms saying, well, you just want to raise our water bill again. And the Jesup, and I keep saying our, and I got to be careful because I don't live in the city limits of Jesup.
Right.
But people in the city of Jesup, you are represented by the city council, and the city council hasn't made any changes. They haven't voted on anything. They talked about this 10 years ago, and people like Thomas James. I like Thomas James. I'm not abdicating. I'm not leaving my throne.
Yeah.
But I'm also not saying that we need to get rid of Thomas James.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But we can also make things better.
Yeah. Well, Jesup is unique because a lot of cities, they have a franchise that they sell to one company to do the garbage. And I don't know how many different companies come into Jesup. It's at least 3 that I know of that work, have business in Jesup picking up trash.
Right.
And I know my neighbor has a different company than I do that comes just once a week. And again, I don't know why they chose that company instead of Thomas James. It makes no difference to me. But it's unique in that way, and that if you want to do business here, you can apparently do business. And so
to their credit.
Yeah.
To their
sure.
credit.
And to me, I always think that's great.
on my road, it is interesting. I have a garbage truck go by on Wednesdays. Then Thomas James comes on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Then another garbage truck goes by my house on Friday.
Yeah.
So we have the same
Yeah.
options in the country.
And they couldn't be making any money if they got one customer in that 5 mile river road or whatever,
Right,
3
right.
miles. There must be plenty of business there for everybody, I guess. And
Right.
so you're recycling. What do you do for recycling? You have to take it yourself to someplace.
Well,
yeah.
I take it to either there is a metal recycle at
In Littleton, yeah.
Chatham
Yeah.
Historical Society. I take some, very little here to Jesup. I take some to Independence.
Yeah. Okay.
I try real hard to take care of my own stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So now my question was for that no one is picking up your recycling in that area. You have to take care of it yourself, and and that's the way it is in Jesup. You have to take care of it yourself.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. If I don't think that those three young people wanted to make a stew about
But there is a problem on social. I haven't read it. People are upset by this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we talk about Thomas James. Thomas James is, and I've got to say this. Thomas James is the sponsor of our show.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas James provides a dumpster for the Littleton Free Watermelon.
Yeah.
And hauls that garbage for free.
And they do that for Farmers Day too. They have for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Worked with Farmers Day.
Yeah.
And so they are big supporters there too, because that's a major expense.
It is. It is a major expense.
Yeah. And I don't know how long they've been, but we moved to town 50 years ago this fall, and they've worked with us for 50 years, and so I know they've been there a long time.
But thank you for bringing that up, Dale. I appreciate you bringing that up. Okay. So, and unfortunately, we don't want to stir things up for either side here, but unfortunately both sides don't know all facts, and I haven't given you all facts because I don't know all facts.
Sure.
We need to get those 3 young people in if we can.
Yeah.
We need to get Mayor Even in again if we can, talk to him.
Yeah, he'd be a good one to have on about that.
All right. Well, some of our sponsors, we talked about Thomas James being one of our sponsors. Reyes Concrete, Littleton Lounge, the Third LLC, the Littleton Chatham Historical Society, Laces, Joe and Judy Olson, the Independence Bulletin Journal, Derek's Repair LLC, Keith Bickert. Keith provides a watermelon for Watermelon Day.
Okay.
Jacobson Fabrication Repair LLC. We've had Donnie on. Even Events and Rental. We've had Mary Even on. Thomas James Boyd's Food Truck. Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster. Dream Chaser Acres, Bobby Leach and Farm Bureau Financial Services, M&M Bakery in Lawrence, Kansas, and Innovative Wealth Management.
It's quite a good list.
Zach Knudsen. That is a good list.
Good companies.
So, Dale, I talked about a big redhead earlier. I talked about Bill Walton. I want to talk about Bill Walton here a little bit. This was the third day of the celebration of his life. He passed away in May. And it's unique, one of the greatest basketball players, and few people talk about his basketball. They talk about the great kind person that he was. I can remember staying up at 10:30 in the middle 70s and watching Walton and the UCLA Bruins play on NBC.
Weren't you just a little sick of them winning all the time, though?
They won.
I was.
They won 80-some games in a row. Who beat them, Dale?
I want to say was it Houston or the Slamma Jamma people, or was that who it was?
No, it was Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Okay.
Yeah, Notre Dame beat them on a Saturday afternoon. I believe it was at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
A game that shocked the world,
Yeah.
but few people realize how big a deal it is to win 80-some games in a row.
Oh, yeah.
But I heard Walton talk about this. Growing up, he was 7 foot tall, a redhead,
Yeah.
with big ears,
Yeah.
shy, and he stuttered.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lot of friends, and he was he had a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression growing up. because of that.
Yeah.
Imagine going through that, and imagine being 7 feet tall. And not being able to think about this. Fit under the shower head. I'm 6'4", and I gotta bend under the shower.
Oh, when I had my shower put in, I said I want it because I don't want to bend.
Right.
So they put it clear up in the wall. So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And imagine every bed that you sleep in, your feet hang out.
Yeah, I have a son-in-law like that. He had 6'5" or so, but he finally has a bed that's long enough for him.
Right.
And maybe the first time in his life. He says sleeping is so much better now.
So. And you travel, you go to places, and people aren't ready for that. I heard they talked about Walton was on the USS San Diego. He took some people to the USS San Diego, and going around ships like that. Imagine a 7-foot man going down.
Yeah, they're not built for that.
It's not.
No.
It's not.
No.
And Walton went through like 38 surgeries. His feet were bad.
His feet were bad. Yeah, that's the foundation for that big body. You know, and I imagine they took a lot of beating with all the jumping and everything and the landing and.
His feet were bad. His back was bad.
Yeah.
He struggled with depression, but the neat thing is the last 10 years of his life, he became a shining light. If you saw him, he was a big music fan. He named his bedrooms after musicians. Like he had a Bob Dylan room in his house.
Yeah. Was it Led Zeppelin that he liked so much? Is that who it was?
No.
It was one of those bands. Like that.
What is the band the tie-dye? The Grateful Dead.
Grateful Dead. That's it.
He was a big Dead's fan.
Yeah.
And you would go to concerts, and you would see this 7-foot tall redheaded guy standing with both arms in the air and this big old grin and he just loved the Grateful Dead. And people would ask him to sit down, not because he was in their way. People loved to be around him. He would say no, not because he was not being courteous or kind. It hurts to sit down. It hurts to stand up.
Yeah.
So he stood up. But here is a eulogy by J. Billis about Walt. Heartbroken. That was the overwhelming feeling that washed over me when I received the call that Bill Walton had died at the age of 71. The man who was always bigger than life and passed from this one, and he left a legacy of basketball greatness and of a wonderful human being. Bill Walton was one of a kind, a person who left everyone he came in contact with feeling special and among his inner circle. He was a generous, giving soul who always put others before himself. As a kid growing up in Southern California, my idol was Bill Walton. He was, without argument, one of the two greatest players in college basketball history, along with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, known as Lou Cinder, during his college days, and remains so to this day. Walton was the most complete center in the game, scoring, rebounding, blocking shots, passing, outlet passing, and running the floor. No center was as complete, and only Kareem could match Walton's record as a winner and a champion. In 3 seasons at UCLA playing for the legendary John Wooden, Walton's team were undefeated national champions twice, reached the Final Four 3 times, and compiled an 86-4 record. Walton was a 3-time National Player of the Year and first-team All-American, and was recognized as the top amateur athlete in the nation. I remember my coaches telling me that Walton was the greatest center to ever play the game. His NBA career was interrupted by injury, but when healthy, Walton was just as dominant as he was in UCLA. In 1976 and 77, he played in 65 games, leading the Portland Trail Blazers to the NBA championships, and he made All-NBA and all-defensive teams and was the Finals MVP. Injuries would limit his dominance. He finished his career with the Boston Celtics in 1985-86, helping Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish win the title while being named the NBA's Sixth Man of the Year. Walton not only overcame an injury-plagued pro career, he overcame a speech impediment to become one of the most entertaining, fun, and beloved broadcasters of all time. He was amazingly intelligent, ridiculously funny, and quick to poke fun at you and at himself. When all would be thrilled to hear Bill talk about himself and his rich life in the game, he would never fail to ask a question about you and put the spotlight on others. He was genuinely interested in you. I had the pleasure, the joy of working with Walton at ESPN. From Maui Pac-12 games or the mega cast of the college football title games where he was dressed as Uncle Sam. Not only did Bill never he always brought a smile to your face just thinking about spending time with him. I quickly realized that Walton was a better person than he was a basketball player, and he was a Naismith Hall of Fame player. Before he went on the air, if I tried to discuss what we may encounter during a broadcast, Bill would put up one of his huge hands and say, "Save it all for the air, Jake." He loved calling me Jake, pretending to get my name wrong. And nobody loved him more than I did. That Bill Walton would include me in his wild sense of humor. On one broadcast with Bill and Dave Pash, Walton was waxing poetic about former Texas coach Ted Owens when he paused his soliloquy to say, "Jake, you're too young to know who Ted Owens is." "Of course I know who Ted Owens is," I replied. "He recruited me." Walton quickly retorted, "For what?" I nearly fell out of my chair laughing. Walton made everything fun. Whenever he was detailing the history of the Sangaro cactus or the mythical powers of the desert, quoting the Grateful Dead as if it were scripture, Walt was more about enjoying every minute of his existence and making more existence around him meaningful and unforgettable. He was a free spirit with endearing eccentricity, but deep down he was about finding joy in others. Man, was Bill Walton fun. For his greatness on the floor, Walton carved out a special place in the game's history that will never be forgotten. As a friend and colleague, Walton had a spirit that was bigger than life. He was a showman. I will always love Bill Walton. He was a national treasure, and there will never be another like him. Rest in peace, Bill. That was from Love Jake, from Jay Billis. Yeah. Jay Billis. There's so many stories out there about Bill Walton. Just a unique human.
One of the articles I read said the game where he made like 21 out of 22 baskets and scored all those points. And during the game, one of the players said to John Wooden, "Think we should try something else?" And Wood looked at him like he was crazy. "No, it's going really well right now." So,
Walton was rather unique, and he was getting together with an author that was writing a story about Syracuse and Duke. And all of a sudden, Syracuse and Duke came under investigation by the FBI. And so this author called Walton, said, "I can't make it. I'm looking into a story about the FBI." And Walton said back, "The FBI has interrupted my life a lot of times." If you remember, Walton was implicated in the Patty Hearst case.
Oh, is that right? I didn't remember that.
Walton's agent at the time had a farm out in Pennsylvania, and that's where they hid Patty Hearst.
Sure.
And I don't think Walton knew anything about it,
yeah.
but Walton was pretty apolitical back during the Vietnam War,
yeah.
and the time of the Sudanese Liberation Army.
Yeah.
Although he became, as he got older in life, he became a strong advocate of the veterans of our country. That is one of the redheads of the show that we talked about. One of the gingers of her life. Although by the end he was sort of bald like this redhead.
Yeah.
So Dale, we had Carter Rout play this past week at the Buchanan County Tourism Center. Mm-hmm. Carter is incredible.
Mm-hmm. He's very good.
He played for 2 hours, told stories, and he had such a large genre of different music that if you get a chance to hear Carter play, you need to do that. We showed Nick Thomas's art, and we sold 2 pieces.
Was that
of
right?
Nick Thomas's art and we'd like to thank Nick, as Nick donated a number of pieces to the Steve Brown Arts Center. So unique story. Carter is trying out for the Iowa band,
The marching band. Okay.
and he has to go to Iowa City 4 times this summer for tryouts.
Sure.
And he wants, I forget the names of the drums, where you have 2 drums on each side.
Oh, like a timpani or something, or
It's
something.
got
I probably shouldn't have said that because it'd be wrong. I'm like,
right.
yeah, I don't know. It's just a bunch
Yeah.
of drums.
Yeah, but he wants to play those.
Uh-huh.
And I can see Carter doing that.
Yeah.
I told Carter he needs to go to different places and play a couple, at least a couple times a month to make some extra money.
Yeah.
It'd be real easy for him
Yeah.
to play the piano.
His parents would appreciate that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would.
Yeah.
The opportunities in the bigger cities are there.
I don't know if I should tell this up, but I know his parents, and the mom and dad were talking to me, and the mom was told by doctors in Iowa City that she would never have a child, and so not worry about birth control and this sort of thing. And then 6 years later, Carter was born, and so he's kind of a miracle baby. And then to have all that talent, because his mother's a very good musician.
Yeah.
Teaches music and plays, and so. But I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
To be told by competent medical authority that something was not going to happen, and then it happens anyway. That just shows you, the power of one little sperm cell is what I think. So.
Yeah. So those are the upcoming events for this month. The Big Blast Brass Band.
You did a wonderful job
I
there.
was going to stumble on that, didn't you, Rueber? And also we have Chet Reagan, we have Greg Dietrich, and we have the Langs
play
at Farmers Day. So please get out to them. We are fortunate to have as much live music around us as we can. And get out and see live music. Get out and listen to live music. Please support artists the best you can. Dale, do you have anything else?
No,
us?
I'm good for that. I think we covered about everything. So.
All right. Well, if you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for an event, go to the SteveBrownArtsCenter.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at jim@SteveBrownArtsCenter.org or call 319-290-0241 and leave a message. I need to put the QR code. I need to give you the QR code, Blake, so you can put it on our... If you have news, please let us know and leave a message at 319-290-0241. I'm Jim Gillespie with producer Blake Tempus and Dale Rueber. Dale, did you have another thought?
No, my thoughts are all gone. So.
All right. Well, thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your day. And remember, each day is about little victories.
Okay.